What is up, everybody? Escape211 here. Once again, we are on the test server, and this time we are looking at a new weapon. This is the Podgun 8. This is a really funny looking weapon overall, but it is actually a really fun one as well. So I like the idea of this one. The best, in a nutshell, way I can describe this is if you took the disc launcher and the cheetah mines and you put them together, which sounds like an odd pairing, but it's really fun. All right, so if we look at the stats of this weapon, this is a barrage weapon, and it has the sticky bombs trait where you will fire these and then they will stick to a surface and then detonate after a short delay. And the delay is different depending on whether it's on like a structure or a mech. Which is kind of interesting. So if we go over to its stats, you'll see that its stats actually is pretty similar to the disc launcher overall as well. All right, the damage per magazine is really close to the disc launcher 8. The damage per shot is less, but this also has more in the chamber and a faster fire rate. The reload is a little faster, but what also is interesting about this weapon and helps it stand out is it has a way bigger optimal range. The disc launcher range for like its lock is 60 meters. This is 100 meters, and it has its own kind of locking system. It's not the same as the disc launchers. You'll see in a minute. And then the max range is 300 meters, so it's got crazy long range, which makes it kind of a long range weapon, which is also very interesting. And it also has a double damage chance, which is really cool. This also has a damage radius, which is pretty high. This is just shy of what the disc launcher is naturally. However, this only has damage and reload implants. It does not have a radius implant, so you won't get crazy radius like the disc launcher, but this still has a very strong radius, which is really cool. All right, and you'll see that the detonation time is only 2 seconds if it's on a mech, 4 seconds if it's on a structure. Now, if you compare this to disc launcher, just because I actually have it nearby, the disc launcher 8 has very similar stats, but it has a little bit more per magazine, but really close. It also has a little bit longer reload speed, so DPS wise that kind of evens out. Also has more per shot, but again, it only has 6 shots and it's a slower fire rate. So I think damage wise these are very similar, and I actually think the damage potential goes in favor of the Pod 8 just because it has that double damage chance. But you know, there's also a delay in how it shoots, and it won't have the radius that a disc launcher can have, especially after you add implants. But there's a lot of similarities there. I think this is a really fun weapon. So I wanted to show you guys a couple different matches that I had at its natural like gear hub rating, and then when it's maxed out. So here we go. All right, so this weapon comes in on tier 5. So I will put my build up, but I have this on an Aegis, which is, you know, one of the most common mechs on tier 5. And this weapon, even though it's not, I would say, a high exposure weapon, there's some exposure depending on the range you're at, depending on how you curve your shots. And you'll see how this has some curved shots to it, like a disc launcher in some sense. Not quite the same. Ugh, got enemy Aegis. Okay. We'll have to wait for his dome to come down, and then we'll shoot some of our own here. Okay. Get some shots directly on that guy, and you can see how there's a little bit of delay in how the actual fire goes. You can also, there we go, you can also in that one see how the shots kind of curve. You need to have something selected, but yeah, you can see how it curves a lot like a disc launcher will, without actually seeing some kind of visual lock. Yep, right there you can see how it has a pretty decent damage radius. Like I said, not going to be as good as the disc launcher when you put on implants, but very similar to its natural radius, which is pretty strong. I feel like if this had a radius implant, it would probably be OP, because you'd just be flinging this stuff everywhere onto structures, and you would just be like creating massive explosions everywhere. It would be insane. But I already think that this weapon has a lot of cool potential. It's almost like a tactical disc launcher, I feel. More tactical. Oh, I love it when they're all grouped up like this. Very fun for this. I don't know. I think this is going to be a really fun weapon. I think it's going to be something that has a lot of potential for people. Ugh. All right, we're going to shoot this one over here. See, I mean, I'm not really exposing myself too much to that guy, but there might be more exposure than what you'd have in a disc launcher, just because you don't have as big a radius. Oh boy. As you can see, I'm landing some on top of my teammate. You can actually put them on your teammate, which is kind of neat. You could put it on like a dash mech, like a Nomad or Surge, and then they can dash in and the radius can hit guys, which is also a fun added element. I mean, probably not practical for a lot of instances, but it seems really neat. I just, again, the potential of this weapon seems really, really cool. Not quite as OP probably as the Seeker. I think that one is super strong, but oh my gosh. I saw the guys back there, but I didn't think one was going to be coming around this corner. I thought they were all going the other way. My bad. All right, let's bring out the discs just to see the comparison here. The discs are still performing well, of course. Yeah, I mean, that damage radius and the immediate damage that these produce, still to me, you know, better than this weapon. But I still think that, you know, the pod is going to be a very strong weapon, very useful weapon, very cool weapon. I could see on smaller maps or certain kinds of maps that have like lanes, that'll be even more effective because you can pretty much shut down certain pathways to the enemy in a very, you know, neat kind of way. So just a different method of play. All right, we got this guy. Oh, and one more. Just a couple more. Yeah, like I said, I know that a lot of you are saying you think the Seeker is OP. I gotta say, I'm starting to agree that I think it's pretty darn powerful. I have only had limited access to it so far. I actually got the test server later than other times. Sometimes we get it earlier, sometimes we get it later. This time we got it later. So, yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of play before I made my video, but after playing on a live server, I think it's pretty darn strong. But this weapon seems like balanced to me. Fun, but not too OP. But still one that I could see myself using like realistically in certain instances and getting good use and enjoyment out of it. So I love weapons like this just because it has a really good design that feels balanced, but also really fun to play. So overall, I've been enjoying it. All right, let's try it in a maxed out build here. All right, we are running a maxed out build. I will put it up. You know, same kind of implants that we're using. Just got the damage and the reload, because that's really all you can do with this. But I'm trying it on Lancer. Man, I've been playing it for a while. Again, still finding this weapon super fun, but given Lancer and given top-end mechs, I'm like a fly that can be swatted, so I gotta be careful. All right, I'm gonna try to get some preemptive shots in, and then we'll, oh, we got some, landed some hits there. Most of the guys are on the opposite side though. But you'll see I'm trying to keep my distance. The benefit of this weapon, especially with a very fragile mech like Lancer, is the distance. Is the distance that we can utilize with this for sure. So I'm going to try to utilize that the best I can to keep myself alive and stay on the back rooftops. Normally I'd try to go into one of the middle ones, but just because the distance that this thing has, I think I'm better off being back here. And look at that, we didn't hit with all those shots, but we hit with some. So yeah, since we're out of that 100 meters, we're out of that 100 meters range, I'm just gonna kind of have to take general shots for getting the sticky bombs down on their two pathways, and we'll see how much we can actually get out of that. There we go. It is annoying to have all this goo splatter all around me when the shots don't quite get over the edge, but I do really dig this. It's really fun. This is the kind of weapon I enjoy though. One where it has like tactical benefits, practical benefits, lots of potential, and it makes a light mech like this feel really fun. I feel like it's a pretty easy weapon to pilot too. You know, because you don't really have to target with something. You more so just want to be aware of your ranges, aware of your exposure, and think of like choke points that you can cover with this. Ooh, I was lucky he did not fire at me, because that could have been an instant kill, I think. All right, so there we're trying to, oh man, I thought I was done. Okay. Nice, nice. Yeah, those choke points. I mean, this is one of those ideal maps, right? Where I can get the height I want. I was thinking I was going to move up. But oh my gosh, man. Where you can keep an ideal height. I think now we're okay. Okay. And oh my gosh, and still get solid benefit out of. I'm gonna try to do single fire around stuff now without exposing myself. Yeah, I love how that curves. Look at that, curve down to that guy. Almost got him. There we go. Now we got him. Let's focus on this guy. Should be dead now too in a second. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, man, super fun. Ah, so good. I mean, I definitely played a variety of matches where I was getting a few decent kills and doing well, but, you know, regularly get one-shotted somewhere with a random EM shot. But when you don't and you can last like that, really, really fun experience overall. So really cool weapon. I've definitely been enjoying it. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, and that is the Pod 8. Now, obviously, this is functioning a little different than the disc launcher, and I hope you can see its value and, like, you know, how it can actually be a really interesting and fun weapon. I do not think this is a replacement to disc launchers overall, though. Disc launchers with their radius and their immediate damage are going to be superior to this just because of how fast combat moves in general in this game. So I don't really think this is better, but I also think that tactically this has more extra advantage for closing off certain regions to different players. So, like, if you're someone that doesn't really want to play disc launchers per se, or you like the tactical advantage this brings, similar to how Cheetah does, but at like a higher level, like on steroids with all of its gunfire, you know, it's a really interesting weapon. I think that there's a lot of potential for this one, in that it can do regular combat pretty well and close off pathing to enemies. But you guys can let me know what you think of this weapon. I think it's balanced and it's really fun, and I think it can sit in the meta, even if it's not necessarily considered top 5. But feel free to let me know your overall thoughts below, and we'll see you out there on the battlefield.